Welcome to this video from MT4gadgets.com. In this video we are going to learn more about the MQL5 compiling action, which is necessary to be able to run your custom indicators, whether you created them or you downloaded them from other sources. Compiling is nothing new to software development. It's not something that is strictly related to MetaQuote language or MetaTrader language. It's something that is required by many different types of languages. Not all of them, but many of them. What is compiling? Compiling is a process in programming and in software development where human readable source code, so the code that you are writing, is converted into symbols that the machine or that the computer can execute. So again, if you have your source code that you have written in, for example, MetaEditor with all of your functions and all of your variables, that's something that as is cannot be run by the MetaTrader software. You need to compile it so that MetaTrader has it in a format that it can understand and can process. If you're a beginner to coding, that might not make perfect sense. Just remember, look, it's a process. We are converting from one format that we can understand to another format that the computer and the software can understand and process. With that, we are going to go and see some examples. Here we are in MetaEditor, which comes with MetaTrader 5. And before we try to compile something and see how something is compiled, we need to mention why do we need to compile and why it is important. Well, firstly, it's not important, it's necessary, because otherwise your software or your tools cannot run. Why it's important? You need to compile to detect errors. During the process of compilation of the software, the compiler or the software that is doing this transformation is checking for errors in the code and will not complete the compiling process until all of the errors are resolved. Second is optimization. During the compilation, the compiler also optimizes the code for the software to run. And third, protection. As you see the source code, you can read anything that is being done by the source code. Compiling transforms all of that clear text into a machine format that cannot be read by a human and cannot be understood by a human. So it provides a level of protection to your source code. Now that we know why it's important and why it's necessary, how do we compile a program? So in this case, we have the code that we have used for the print examples. We are in MetaEditor. We have some clear text or source code, and via MetaEditor we can compile this software into something that the machine can understand. Compiling is done via the compile button, and you can see the compiling process at the bottom in the errors tab. So if you compile this source code, it's very quick. So how long it took to compile and what was the file? The file was an MQ5, so a source source file. The code was generated and there were 0 errors, 0 warnings, and it took 197 milliseconds to complete. So now that the MQ5 file was compiled, the compilation or the compiling process has created an EX5 file, which is the compiled version that can run into MetaTrader 5. And if you were to try to open this file with, for example, a text editor, you would see that you cannot understand what is the content of this file, because this is just the way the computer is able to read it. To show what would happen in case of an error is very easy to trigger. If we were to miss, for example, a comma in a semicolon at the end of the line and we try to compile, the software would not compile and would say, hey, I don't understand what's happening. And if you double click on the line, it shows on this line something happened, and it's either in this line or in the previous line. And if we go and look at the code, we can easily see, yeah, okay, we missed a semicolon, so this line was not completed, and the MetaEditor was not able to understand what was the correct action to take. So you're missing something. And if you correct the error with the semicolon and then compile again, that works. So that was fairly easy. I think understanding what compiling a software or a file is important, so that you can understand that there are two formats. You have one format that is your source code that you understand, and then you compile it and you produce a different format that is the EX5 format that MetaTrader understands and can work with. So hopefully this lesson was quick and useful. If you haven't already, come and check us out at mt4gadgets.com, and I hope to see you soon.